Dan I was driving home from work. I needed an answer, and I'm like, all right, whatever. And then I get home, and he texts me. He's like, "Yo, just had some bottomless mimosas," and I was like, "I'll just see him on the podcast."
That's what it was. That's what I'm like. All right, let me stumble through this one. Bottomless mimosas is the key, man, because they always tell you every time I see bottomless mimosas, it's a fucking challenge because you're telling me that there's no bottom. I'm gonna find the bottom, and we're gonna discover it together. It's a mutual collaboration on this.
Then Dan got kicked out.
Welcome back to Not a Strong Start, a movie podcast by three filmmakers that love to talk bottomless mimosas, endless buffet supplies that we come to the very end, and we also love to talk movies. Who knew? So you came here, and we're happy to be talking about movies. I'm your host, Daniel de Sangre, and I hear urination in the background. That sounds like somebody drank bottomless, but let's see.
Someone's testing the bottom of the toilet right now.
I'm Chuck.
Yeah.
I'm Bruce Stark. Yeah. I got one if anything. Chuck doesn't have one.
That wasn't supposed to keep rolling.
Hello, Chuck.
Hey,
it's that guy.
So I read recently that HBO Max is actually going to be working on an It prequel. It's going to be called Welcome to Derry, and it's going to dive into the origins of Pennywise. So I'm a little excited about that. What do you guys think?
That's cool. I mean, if it's done well, I like horror. I like it. I like both movies. I didn't read the book because Dan probably read the book, but
I did.
Did you really?
Yeah, I did.
Was it like that fat?
I like Stephen King. It's a little fatty. It's a fatty.
It's
got a little bit of squish to it. It's got a little bit of
girth.
It's a little girthy.
No, that's cool. I mean, I'm all for it. You know, I hope it's done well. You know, I mean, wasn't he from space or some shit though? I don't know. Is it going to be in outer space?
Alien.
It's an alien, right? It's an alien. What's the thing? Because I do enjoy especially the newer updated version, even though the first one is way better than the second part. But they touch on it a little bit, but I'll be curious just to see a little bit more. Unlike Dan, I did not read the book, so I'll be going in clean slate.
Yeah, I don't like to read books. I feel like they ruin the movie.
They could, but here's the thing: the books. I mean, the movies are never usually as good as the books. But if they do a prequel, it's every 27 years that it's supposed to come back out and feed on the people. So are we going 27 years? So are we seeing the parents that are now kids? I'm assuming, or are we seeing this creature, this monster, this alien in space? It's one of those things where I don't know what they're getting out of it, right? Because I also heard that they were announcing that they're getting Kit Harington to do a Jon Snow revival, right? You saw that too. It seems like they're just pulling whatever they can out of this franchise. So with them giving us a prequel, I mean, what are we going to get out of this?
Crossovers.
Yeah. So in this, speaking of weird crossover ideas, this week's episode is crossovers. So we're going to be explaining what exactly is a crossover, right? So when somebody says, "Oh, we're having a crossover episode," we're going to have a crossover movie. So guys, come on, what's a crossover?
I mean, basically, a crossover usually is when you have two different properties. Usually coming together, whether it's characters of one property going on to another one or a setting or whatever, but some aspect of one property is crossing over with an aspect of another property.
They're crossing streams.
Yeah.
Yes.
They're crossing
only
swords.
do in times of emergencies.
Exactly. And I know they've done this a lot in comic books more than anything, and they've done this a little bit in books. But comic books is where they've done the crossover more than any other thing, right? Right, Jose?
It's a consistent thing, usually, at least within the major companies. Yeah. So, you have within DC properties crossing over with other DC properties, like over and over again. Same thing with Marvel. It's very rare where you see crossovers amongst competing companies. So we have had Marvel DC crossover, but what was that, Chuck, like 30 years ago, something like that, a long time
Probably,
ago.
and definitely not in any movies. That's for sure.
So why do you guys think that is? Like, why do they do it on comic books, but why do you think they don't do it with movies?
Money.
Well, I think in partially, like you said, it's money, but then it comes down a lot of times, I think, to rights. Who owns the rights? So if like Disney has the rights for one property, and Universal has the right, or Sony has the right for another property, there's so much like hoops and red tapes that they have to go across because they're not owned by the same entity to try to bring these things together. I mean, look how long and how much trouble it was just to get Spider-Man into the MCU, because Spider-Man was owned by Sony, Disney owned the other Marvel characters that so even that, even though they're all Marvel characters, that became a problem just because of who owned what.
Yeah, and then you got to figure out who's gonna win. You know what I mean? And I'm sure whoever owns these properties is like, well, Batman's gonna win, right? Why the fuck would he? Iron Man's gonna win, and then so usually what happens is they just kind of throw in a villain that they can both fight, pretty much, right? And then no one has to know who fucking wins.
Yeah.
Sort of like the
Yeah.
Godzilla versus King Kong, right? Where you kind of have them
Right,
fight
okay.
and you kind of throw a little something in there.
That's that's that formula. First half of the movie or whatever it is, they have some kind of disagreement. They fight each other, and they realize like we're on the same side, and then they come together for for good and fight whoever the villain is. But it is true what Chuck says, because I don't remember exactly what all the results were, but when they had that Marvel DC crossover, it was just kind of taking turns winning. So, you had, I don't know, let's say Hulk wins his matchup for Marvel, and then Wonder Woman won her matchup for DC, and then Batman won his matchup, and so won their matchup. So they just kind of kept going back and forth. So in the end, it's kind of like a 50-50 split, because they do have to protect their own property.
And I think just to kind of touch a little bit on that, I think when you're dealing with movies, there's a lot more big parties involved with it, because you don't just have the studios, you have the studio heads, you have producers that are attached to it, you have the actors that are attached to it, on top of the, I guess, I don't want to say what created character owners, but the character properties. You have a lot of entities involved with that. And with the comic books, you don't. It's more just you're focused on that one company. So there's less people that are involved in the type of negotiation or whatever agreement that they come to for these crossovers. In movies, you have a lot of moving parts. So even if you wanted to do something, like you said, the example with Marvel, even though Marvel owns Spider-Man, they don't own the Spider-Man movie rights. So they even have to have negotiations and contract talks just to be able to use the license of Spider-Man in the Marvel movies. So, all right. So now that we explained a little bit about what a crossover is, what are some of the ones you guys have seen? Let's start off with the good ones, and then let's really dissect the bad ones. I want to hear some bad ones too. But what are some of the good ones you guys have seen?
One really good one that I saw, and actually it was on a TV show. It was an episode where they had a crossover. And Chuck, you've probably seen this one. It was on Supernatural, the TV show, and they crossed over with Scooby-Doo. So the Winchesters actually went into the Scooby-Doo world in there, except the twist was that the people on the Scooby-Doo show were actually getting killed. So, Scooby-Doo, it's always like no one's actually getting hurt. It's never an actual ghost or anything. But when they merge together, all of a sudden people are actually dying on Scooby-Doo. And then all of a sudden the gang is getting freaked out because now it's real. So they're like getting traumatized. The characters by actual death.
I can't think of a movie, but one of my favorite comics was Batman versus Predator. That story, like, I loved, and I always thought, damn, how fucking cool would that be if it was a movie, because it's Batman and Predator, and I loved the story, but like as a movie, like, damn, if they were to get that one right, because I mean they had Aliens versus Predator, and that movie sucked, like that could have been so fucking good, right? But You know,
And that
so
sucks, man. I love the
yeah, I
Alien
think
franchise. I love Predator, but Alien versus Predator sucked. Like both movies, right? Because they only had two, I think. They were awful, man. I didn't like them.
yeah, there was two, right? Like Requiem,
Those for sure,
Requiem
at
or
least
something.
yeah,
two. I'm not sure if there was
yeah.
a third one,
No,
but
there
like,
was two. Second one way better than the first, but
Really?
also still not good.
The one
Yeah,
they're
second
like in a
one's
forest or something. The first one they're in Antarctica, and then the second one that's like Requiem or something, like in a fucking
yeah, that
like in a
one.
forest or some shit.
you
Or
can't remember my birthday, Chuck, but you can remember where Alien versus fucking Predator is. Good to know. Good to know. Please continue. Carry on.
Oh. No, but yeah, no, the second one was better than the first. Because the first they did this weird human and predator like love story blooming thing that was really just odd. The second one at least did a good job of like showing how badass the predators can be.
Mhm.
And there was a more focused on the battle between the predators and the alien. So, but back on the good though, one, and I don't know if you guys were ever X-Files fans,
Mhm. Yep. I like
but do
this
you
one.
remember they did a crossover with Cops?
really?
Yeah.
Dang, I don't remember that.
So it's the episode started off, it looked like a Cops episode, filmed just like
Mm.
Cops was, the music and everything. And then all of a sudden, like one of the cops like gets attacked and a car gets flipped, like something supernatural. And then they catch Mulder and Scully arriving to investigate. So then they like team up with Mulder and Scully while they're investigating. The camera crew follows them while they're investigating this like entity that's like taking people out. So
Mm.
that ended up being cool in the way they integrated it. I remember when I first watched the episode, I'm like, I thought it's supposed to be X-Files because it looked exactly like Cops.
Man, that's awesome, dude. I loved X-Files, man. X-Files was cool.
Yeah.
Here's one that I like, and I know this movie gets shitted on, but I liked Jason versus Freddy. I didn't
Oh, that
mind
was
it,
gonna be
dude.
on my bad.
Yeah, I get it. And like it's one of those ones that like I know there's issues with it, and the representation that they had for Jason had flaws, right? Because he never really had a fear of water. And I know in that movie they had to establish that in order to give Freddy some kind of advantage over him, in his dreams. I get it, but I still felt like it was one of those ones like you talked about, Chuck, where you have the battle, but it still kind of feels like it's fair and even. And even at the end, when you think Jason won, they still kind of give Freddy his
Yeah.
little signature joke at
His
the
little
end when
wink.
he's kind of,
Yeah, he winks or
yeah,
something, right?
because and
Yeah.
I know like okay, so Jose, I know why it has its flaws and it's bad. Like I get it. But how much better could you really have done with this type of movie for what they were at, especially where they were at in their series? Because this movie came out right after Jason 10, didn't it? Like you weren't
Yeah.
getting
Yeah.
you weren't getting good versions of Jason at that time, and Freddy was already overused. So even when they were doing Freddy movies, we weren't getting the best material of both of these guys. So when they gave us Freddy versus Jason, I thought it's okay. Like it's not bad. I mean, it wasn't an amazing movie, but I still felt like I had some cool things to kind of watch, and they gave us some protagonists in the movie, some of the characters. I was like, okay, like I'm kind of seeing where they're going with it. The movie could have been a lot worse. Like Alien versus Predator was awful to me, and I love Alien franchise. I love Predator. Predator 2, I won't get into, but it's okay. But Alien versus Predator was awful. I didn't think Jason versus Freddy was awful.
Here's my thing with that movie. It's the third act. I actually enjoyed most of that movie. I liked how it started. I liked the middle of it. I like how they were integrating them both together. And then how Freddy was able to use the nightmare aspect to kind of get to Jason. I liked all of that aspect. It was the third act where it just went downhill, especially when he pulled Freddy into the real world, and then out of nowhere, fucking Freddy is Bruce Lee, and he's like, all of a sudden he knows martial arts. And all this, it just went downhill right at that point where he's doing like spin kicks and all of this crap. I'm like, whoa, what the hell just happened? So that third act, it just ruined the movie for me because I was enjoying the rest of it so much.
Yes, and that's why you're not wrong. And if people in the comments section blast me and say the movie sucks, you're right. Like I'm not defending it. I'm just saying, and I'm kind of judging it on a curve because the movies we were getting out of these guys were not good. They weren't good. So when I'm watching Freddy versus Jason, I can't expect it to be OG Jason and OG Freddy. We weren't getting that in the movies. So when I saw at least 2/3 of the movie that was decent, I thought they did okay with it. And I don't know how else you really could have done the movie. I mean, if you don't let Jason dream, you don't have a fair fight, man. Then just Jason's going to I mean, he can't even see Freddy. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's the only way you can really see them see each other. So the people that say, well, we never see him dream and he never had this fear of swimming, well, then you don't have a competition at that point. Like, you had to give us something. I'm not saying they were right in how they did it. I mean, they could have done it better, but then I would have taken it back 3 or 4 Jason movies and I would have revamped those if I'm going to sit here and try to rewrite the whole thing just for that lead up. But that's my thought. What about you, Chuck? How do you feel about that?
I hate that movie. Like, I feel like you do. You know, it's like they weren't making good ones, you know? So it was kind of like, yeah, what did I expect? And I just enjoyed it. Like, I didn't hate it, but I hate Kelly Rowland, Destiny's Child chick. I hate her in the movie, that's for sure, but I don't hate the movie. And you're right. It's like, what else could they have really done with it? You know, the only, like, it's hard, you know, because Freddy's in a dream. Jason doesn't get, like, how do you bring them together? Something better probably would have been Jason versus, like, Michael Myers. That probably would have been better, you know, but I get it. At that time, those two were like the biggest like monster franchises at that time. So,
and here's the thing, right? Because we heard about Jason versus Mike Myers, like that could possibly be the follow up to it. But if you have Jason versus Mike Myers, even though we would have been so geeked to watch it, we would have watched it. You have 2 silent characters. You have 2 characters that don't talk, that are basically the same type of character. You have Jason that's a little more, you know, severe in the way he kills people, but you have the same type of character. They can't talk. So Freddy has always been interesting.
Yeah.
That's why I love Freddy, because they kind of made him like the Bugs Bunny of slasher films. So it gave us something to go with. So even when you see the Jason versus Freddy like versus thing, you have Freddy still giving his quippy dialogue and still playing into the whole Jason thing. But if you have 2 mute guys, like what are we really watching? Like,
they're just gonna be like,
that's it. Just 2 guys with the knives just stabbing at each other. It's like, well, one dude's a zombie and one dude's technically human. So Jason should technically beat the shit out of this guy. I mean, he should. Otherwise, what the hell am I watching? Like, what?
How are they gonna come together? It like Michael Myers' sister's a little too old to be going to camp, or you should just get a job as a counselor and then like that's how they meet up.
So what are some of the crossovers that you guys had in mind? Something you wish, you know, we would have seen, something that's, you know, either you heard of it or something that maybe you didn't hear reference, something that'd be kind of cool to watch.
Well, actually, I got a few here that
you can only do one, Jose.
They were close to being made, or at least studios were having discussions on them.
Okay.
But it didn't happen. One, it was a Halloween Hellraiser crossover. They even had a title for it. It was going to be called Halloween. Clive Barker was going to be writing, and John Carpenter was going to be directing.
Ooh, that's cool.
Yeah. So it got just to the discussion stage. So not much more came after that. But that was a possible crossover that never happened.
I had saw something. I think there was like leaked emails a while back or whatever, and I guess like Jonah Hill and Channing Tatum had talked about doing the 21 Jump Street, but crossovering with Men in Black.
Yeah.
So
like they were gonna be like trying like cadets or something, trying to make it into the Men in Black. supposedly that's not fully shut down yet.
Oh.
Every once in a while, the rumor still comes up like, "Hey, it's a possibility." I don't think it'll happen, but yeah, I do remember that one.
Would you guys want to see that? What are your thoughts?
I would. I don't. You don't like 21 Jump Street, right? One of you, I feel like, doesn't like it.
I thought it was okay.
I didn't mind it.
Yeah, the first one I thought it was
him.
okay. The second one, I was like, I'm just not a huge Channing Tatum fan.
That's right. That's what it is.
Yeah, I like Jonah Hill. I like Jonah Hill. Channing Tatum, I'm not a huge fan of. I think, yeah, I'll keep my opinion to myself.
I would I would like to see it. I like both those franchises. So
I like Men in Black, man. I like Men in Black more.
I mean, I didn't like the second one, but the third one I thought was really good. So.
Ooh, I didn't like the third one.
Really? Dude, I cry every time I watch it.
No, the fourth one. I'm thinking about the fourth one.
There's a fourth one? Oh, with Thor.
Yeah, that was not.
I didn't even watch that one.
I saw that one.
Yeah.
And Tessa Thompson was in it. Tessa Thompson was in it too.
Yeah. I skipped that one.
Here's one I'm curious.
Saw Johnny
like, since we did an episode earlier on Bruce Willis, at one point there was discussions and it almost got made a Die Hard 24 crossover.
That would have been cool.
Yeah, so there was a lot of people on board. I think this is a little after it was Die Hard. What was the one where?
With the Vengeance? Die Hard with the Vengeance?
No. I think it might have been like
Die Hard.
Live Free or Die Hard.
Live Free or Die Hard. It was after that one. That the success of that one.
That's a good one.
They wanted to do it in 24, and it was close to happening, but then Keith Sutherland backed out because he wanted to have a 24 movie, because at that point it was just a show. So he wanted to have 24 to have his own solo movie, not just showing up on a Die Hard movie. So then that kind of fell apart because of that.
Was 24 episodes, like hour-long episodes?
Yes.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
Can you just watch like all the Die Hards in a row?
See, so to me, 24 is a show that I never really watched, but I heard great things about it. So I don't knock it at all. It wasn't because of lack of interest on me. I just, never really gave it a shot, but
just
it
lack
fits.
Of interest.
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, it fits. It fits in the same world though as Die Hard. That's why I immediately said yes. Like I can absolutely see that. It makes sense. 21 Jump Street and Men in Black. Why? Like other than them both trying to stop crime, I guess. I mean, it just doesn't, like, I never saw aliens or anything hinted in 21 Jump Street that makes me think Men in Black existed in their universe. It feels forced to me. That's why I have an issue with it. Like, it just doesn't feel natural. You know what I'm saying? That's why, like don't have crossovers just to have crossovers. Like, it has to feel real in their universe. That's why I thought Alien versus Predator, that can absolutely happen, because we have creatures in other worlds that they easily could exist. They just didn't execute it that well. That was the problem, in my opinion. The Alien did such a good job of making the xenomorph such a badass killer and predator that we saw. So when you see Predator 1 and in the movie Alien 1, they're so hard to kill. And then in Alien versus Predator, they made them like just sheep. It was so easy to kill xenomorphs, and it's like, come on, man.
I think it could have worked. I mean, I see Will Smith in the first one running around. He's just a cop, and all of a sudden he comes across an alien. Like, I feel like it could have worked.
Comedy, yes. I think Jonah Hill and Will Smith can absolutely work on screen. I'm just talking about like the worlds that they set up. I mean, why does 21 Jump Street all of a sudden have aliens? That'd be the only question I'd ask. If they can make it work, I mean, with clever writing, you can almost make a lot of stuff work with it. So, they could.
I mean, Chung brings up a good point, because I guess the storyline that we're going to go with is they kind of get recruited into Men in Black. And in the first Men in Black, I mean, Will Smith and so many other cops were fighting crime and doing their stuff with completely unaware what was happening. So it could exist in that universe. They're just not aware, or if they ever encountered them, maybe they got, their memory wiped. You never know.
True. You have any others, Jose?
The only other one that I had here, which I think would have been horrible, is they were in discussions of doing a Transformers G.I. Joe crossover. I mean, they're both Hasbro.
Hasbro, yeah.
So yeah, that was something. And then I guess when they were writing the third GI Joe, which never happened, but when they wrote the script, there was supposed to be a tease at the end of it that teases towards Transformers. But then GI Joe 3 never happened because I think the second one wasn't successful. And then Transformers has been on the downhill for many years. So I think they just didn't see value in actually doing it, so it didn't happen. Originally they were going to wait until after Michael Bay was done with his Transformers because he wasn't going to be part of it.
So I can see Transformers and G.I. Joe working as a crossover universe. The issue that I had at that particular time is that they didn't get G.I. Joe done right. It just didn't, they didn't get it right. You know, I was a fan of the cartoon. The movies didn't quite feel right. And then, like you said, by the time they're ready to do this crossover, Transformers is already kind of ran its course already. I loved Transformers 1 and 2. Beyond that, I didn't really love the Transformers as much after that. I feel like they kind of fell off.
Dan's just shooting them all down because they all have Channing Tatum in it, dude.
Yeah.
They're all getting shut down.
I didn't fucking like G.I. Joe. It just wasn't. I'm like, had Channing Tatum in it? Yeah, I guess.
Yeah. I like Marlon Wayans though, but even he couldn't save G.I. Joe for me. Yeah. Tell me, did you like G.I. Joe? Tell me you loved
Bruce
it.
Willis was in it.
Loved it.
He's in the second one. He's G.I. Joe, right? Isn't he G.I. Joe?
Yeah.
Something like that, right?
Yeah.
And there was another. No, there was three because wasn't The Rock in one of them?
No, that's the second one too.
Was the second
one
Oh, okay.
was better than the first. Dan might have loved it. They killed off Channing Tatum like in the first like 3 minutes.
Oh,
he's all, I gotta check that out. That's on
let
my
me go
queue.
ahead and add that to the queue. Exactly. You don't say. Nah. Do you guys love Channing Tatum? Just out of curiosity.
Love
like
is a
him.
strong word.
Yeah, love's pretty strong. I like him. He's okay. Like I
Got
like
5
watching everything
badasses?
he's in.
Your scale.
He's get like 1.8 badasses.
Oh, okay. How about you, Jose?
Yeah, he's been entertaining in certain roles. You know, in 21 Jump Street, you know, he was entertaining. You put him in the right comedic role, and I feel he does well.
So, how many badasses do you give him?
Give him like 3 badasses.
Oh, yeah. Jose loves them. Okay. Here was one movie that I was really interested that kept being rumored as well was Jason versus Ash. You guys heard about that one? That one was supposed to be one. So Ash of Evil Dead.
I heard about the trio because they were supposed to do Freddy versus Jason versus Ash.
Yes, they were going to do that one. And that would have been interesting to me, even though it's one of those ones again that like I don't quite see how they could have existed in the same universe. But again, clever writing could make you see how they can do it. I don't know. I love the Ash character. I love Bruce Campbell. So that one would have made it a little more funny to me because Freddy versus Ash could have had a lot of good dialogue scenes, man. They could have been very clever with each other. And that was a big issue that I had with Freddy versus Jason was Jason couldn't talk. So it's just like a one-way conversation. It's like a guy just talking to himself. You give him Bruce Campbell, who's a smartass, and Freddy, who's a smartass, I'm interested. And then you throw in Jason for good measure because he's gruesome and evil and all.
I think that could have.
Do you think with technology now, with like phones and stuff, that we can do Jason versus Michael Myers? Like they could text each other?
Like FaceTime?
Or No, FaceTime just in
They send emojis to each other? Yeah. Like dick emojis?
No, I think it could have worked. You could have gone with the whole concept because like Evil Dead is being like, you know, the link to hell and, you know, bringing demons and all this, you know, entities from hell. And pretty much both Jason and Freddy have been to hell. So they could have been pulled back by the book.
Yeah. I could see that. Chuck, give me a crossover that you would love to see, man. What's one? Even if the universes don't make any sense, what's 2 good characters you want to see on screen together?
Home Alone versus Michael Myers.
I would watch that,
Yes.
especially if it's like 10-year-old Kevin McAllister.
Kevin McAllister. I was
Yes.
trying to think of his name. That's what I was like. What the fuck's his name?
Kevin McAllister.
Yeah, and then Michael Myers comes to his old house, but Kevin McAllister's staying there because they went on fucking vacation and they're touring and they left him at that fucking house. So now he's fucking there. Michael Myers comes home on Halloween. Boom, booby trap.
Boom. Are the sticky bandits in it?
Yeah, they get fucking murked though. But
Yeah.
It starts off with them first. You think it's just a regular Halloween movie. I mean, a regular Home Alone movie. So they're trying to get in, and then Michael Myers takes them out.
Yeah. Sorry, Joe Pesci. You think I'm a clown? You think I'm here to entertain you? And he just bah, bah, bah.
Yeah.
That'd be awesome to see. How about you, Jose? You got anything?
I thought of this when I was watching some of the 100 horror movies. I'm like, what if you blend Hostel with Taken in there? So
that's
since he loves having his family taken over and over again, so someone else takes his family again, but this time it's part of Hostel, and they're being taken to be basically a torture bait. And then now he has to do his Liam Neeson thing.
Here's one I got for you guys: Kill Bill, John Wick. Ooh. I want to see some badass.
He's all ooh. Look at Dan being his own hype man. Kill Bill versus John Wick. Oh,
that boy good. That boy good.
That boy good. That boy good.
That boy good.
It's like, good. Chuck, did you ooh, Chuck? Did you ooh?
I went, Jose? Oh. And then when I edit it, I'm just going to combine all of our voices. Ooh. It's like, yabba!
Hold on. Kill Bill versus John Wick. Oh.
That's our hype video for our advertisement, the way it cut it, where they're like, man, they look like they're having so much fun on that podcast. No, just Dan hyping himself up.
Light this off.
How about, and this one has already been talked about. Has been talked about already, but I would love to still wipe this off. Wipe this off.
Quick, get the two mutes going at it. Let's wipe this off.
There goes our ads.
Yeah, we're gonna have to cut that part off because
got us again. Damn
there
you,
goes the
bottomless
channel.
Just
Damn
lost
you,
my
bottomless
fucking
mimosas.
Just lost my fucking job. Great.
Dang.
All
right.
All right, Chuck. What's your next one, Chuck?
I mean, I would still like to see Deadpool versus Logan. I know they're not. I'm not versus, but like together, like do something together. Fucking road trip. I don't know. Dude.
So you want the Logan in Logan, the movie, the older one, or you want Wolverine? Like
I want the older Logan.
Old man Logan.
Old man Logan, where he's kind of like already done with a bunch of bullshit. He's got no patience. He's fucking tired.
I would love that. I love that.
Yeah, and then Deadpool doing his thing. Ryan Reynolds being basically fucking Ryan Reynolds. So
I'm with that.
Yeah.
I totally watch that, man. That'd be a funny. It's like that.
Good one, Chuck. Thanks.
Holla. All right, you got one too, Jose?
Yeah, it's a horror one. So Event Horizon and Hellraiser.
Okay, I need this one explained to me.
Okay,
I'm interested. You piqued my interest. Okay,
all right.
Here we go. I feel my curiosity.
You can find a link there between them. So at the end of Event Horizon, all of that is like it's pretty much like a portal to like another dimension where there's like torture and pain and all of that aspect, which is what Hellraiser is. They're basically, you can consider them they're part of another dimension that's what they do. They torture pain. So what if the Event Horizon actually connects to the same world the Hellraiser is from? And that's how you have like that connection. And you see similarities like how like some of the deaths and some of the kills that in both of them, where it's like this can be the same thing.
So did the ship go to Hellraiser and then it came back? And that's when we get Event Horizon, the movie.
Well, yeah, because the ship ended up going over
To
there
hell.
and coming back,
Right.
and then the people get dragged inside of there when they go in like that black goop and all of that aspect. That can be the doorway to Hellraiser. You can get through it through there or through the box.
Do we get
And then we
Sam
throw
Neill
Jason
in
in there.
Yeah. Yes.
To just sit silently in the corner.
I want Sam Neill in it. As long as Sam Neill's in it, I'm good. Yes.
That's one of the scariest movies of all time for me, by the way. I saw
Horizon?
it recently. It's still scary, but when I was younger, shit freaked me out, dude. So just FYI, B to the dub. Oh.
Ooh. All right. You got another one, Chuck?
It's okay, but I would throw like the Guardians of the Galaxy in the Star Wars universe. So just to kind of see what that would look like. Maybe Darth Vader fucking murks him, Star Lord, or at least Drax.
How about this one? Invasion of the Body Snatchers and the Thing together. So
They're
let's say
pretty
the
similar.
Thing
Yeah, I can see
ends
that.
up escaping Antarctica as he tries, makes it to San Francisco, which has already been taken over by Invasion of the Body Snatchers. So now you have the alien humans who are now also being taken over by the Thing. So it's a battle of like who's going to come out on top.
Watch that. They seem pretty similar worlds. I can see that. What if it's Invasion of the Body Snatchers and Showgirls?
I would watch that.
It's just strippers that are fucking aliens. So when you're getting lap dances.
How about this? Sleeping Beauty, Nightmare on Elm Street.
Oh, nice.
Sleeping Beauty, Nightmare on Elm Street.
Yeah. The reason she's not waking up is because Freddy's not letting her.
Dude, that would be awesome. I'd be so down for that one. Because you can go so many different directions with that one. Because, they're always revitalizing like live action Disney movies. Hell yeah, I'd watch that one. That one would be a good one. It's good, sir. Yes, I like that one.
Oh, good one, dude.
Ooh, that's a good one, man. You can go with so many possibilities with that one. And then you have the dude who's purposely trying to go to sleep just so that way he can help defend her and fight off and all that stuff. Hell yeah, I watched that one. All right, guys, what do you have on the queue? What's on the queue? Give us something good.
It's not really a crossover. You know what? I'll call it a Thor Fantastic Four crossover. But on the queue, I'd say that new movie from Netflix, Spiderhead. Watch it. It's actually pretty good. Good
Is
concept.
Really? Cool. How about you, Chuck?
The Boys. I got to catch up on The Boys. So I think I'm an episode behind. I'm watching The Boys and Obi-Wan. What do you guys think of Obi-Wan?
It has its moments.
Yeah, it started off really good. It kind of dropped a little bit and it's kind of picked up a little bit, but I feel like with only one episode left, I don't know if it's going to quite stick the landing. You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like they kind of set some stuff up and I thought they were kind of going with a different direction with it. And I thought they were going to tie a little more into Obi versus Vader's, dynamic. And even though they're touching on it, it feels kind of surface level.
Yeah.
I thought they were going to go a little deeper with it.
And Obi-Wan's the only thing I'll watch because I like Ewan McGregor. So,
how much do you love him?
5 badasses. But it got me to watch the climax, the battle with him and Liam Neeson and Darth Maul. So fucking good, dude. Their fight, so good. I was watching it and I'm like, this is top tier Star Wars for me. Like that, not that movie. I know I fuck around. That movie's not great, but their fight is good though.
I don't know if I'd really say it's a crossover, but my recommendation is Avengers Endgame. They did such a good job of sort of crossing over these characters from all their thing, even though it's technically still part of the same kind of world. That's why I say it's not really like a crossover, but you're crossovering franchises. Avengers Endgame, dude, it is such a good job of incorporating all these characters. We've seen so many movies in the past where they've done kind of crossover movies, and I thought Avengers Endgame did such a good job where it even felt like the individual writers. So even when you saw Guardians, when they popped into the movie, James Gunn did their dialogue. You can read that. It didn't feel like somebody else wrote their dialogue. It felt very genuine to them. And even when they did a lot of the intros of the characters, it still felt very like them. So they did a good job of combining their worlds where it still felt very genuine to their own individual movies. So I'd still say Avengers Endgame. I love the movie. I recommend it. If you haven't seen it, definitely watch it. You don't have to have watched every single Marvel movie before, but it does help.
You do have to watch every single Marvel movie before.
Yeah.
Don't listen to Dan.
Yes,
Yeah. Just a quick recommendation since we're doing the crossover, because I didn't do it, because I actually did what I was watching. But I would recommend it. Let me know if you guys think this is kind of in a crossover, is Ready Player One. Like, they have like just so many different characters from so many different other movies and stories and comics that, like, to me, that feels a little bit like a crossover. So that's something that I would recommend people to watch. That's a great movie. So
the book is even better. The book is better. And it's crazy because it's Spielberg. Dude, the book is so good. The book is so good.
You have to agree with Dan here. That's one that I actually read.
Oh, you fucking read that one?
Hey.
Well, okay. All right. Well,
smug, fucking ostentatious bastard. You fucking read that? What the fuck's the matter with you, dude? We're supposed to be on the fucking same fucking team. These fucking dickheads reading fucking books and shit and watching French fucking films. We're supposed to be against this guy. What the fuck are you doing, dude? This is fucking bullshit.
Nope.
Checks out.
Yeah, I might have reading might have been a strong word.
Okay.
It's more like Will Wheaton read it to me while I was in traffic most of the time. And he read the whole book to me.
Audio book, man. You listen to the movie. It was good though, man.
All right, we're back.
Yeah. Okay. And it sucks to say, man, because it's Spielberg, and I love Spielberg, but you know, if Spielberg would have directed this in the late 80s, early 90s, I think the movie would have been a little better, to be honest with you. But
I liked it, but I didn't read the book either, though. So
I liked it. I still thought the movie was cool. I know they're doing a Ready Player 2. I read the book. The book for Ready Player 2, I didn't love, to be honest with you. I didn't think it was that great. It was an interesting story. I just didn't like necessarily the writing with it on the characters. So let's see where the movie goes.
Yeah, Will Wheaton didn't do his version, so I don't know about the second book.
Of course not. Will Wheaton. On that note, guys, you can watch us on YouTube. Please like, subscribe, comment, share. You can follow us on Twitter, Instagram at Not a Strong Start. I'm your host, Daniel de Sangre. You can follow me at King_Sangre, SANGRE.
I'm Bruce Stark. You can find me at This Is Mi Nombre.
I'm not your host, and I don't want you guys to find me.
Oh, but the cops will find him.